Chalaki, for your excellent moderation. Now it's time to go for second session of today's webinar, where our speaker, Dr. Patita Das, Assistant Professor of Provincia University, is waiting. Today he is with us to deliver the presentation on the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. Today he will focus on the concept of evolution and involution, so far as the integral philosophy of Sri Aurobindo is concerned. Prior to the talk of Dr. Das, let me reflect as his academic pursuits. Though actually he is a popular figure in philosophy family and he is known to all of us, still then I have to reflect upon his academic activities. Dr. Das is a very brilliant scholar in philosophy, and he has done his MPhil and PhD from JNU, and he is acting as the head of the department in Provincia University, and he has already published 5 books. I don't want to reflect all his academic pursuits. He has published 5 books on philosophy. They are life in, and he has also contributed a lot of articles in different national and international journals, and he has participated in a number of philosophical seminars, and he has organized a lot of national and state level seminars, and he is a very known figure to all of us. I don't want to speak much about his philosophical acumen, and he has also assigned with different administrative charges in Provincia University, and now it's time to reflect upon, to listen from Dr. Das on the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo on evolution and involution. Now over to Dr. Das.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Yes, sir.
Devasis, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kailash sir, for this nice introduction. Thank you, Om sir, for making this stage, which will make my talk today easier. Thank you very much, Devasis, for the moderation and all of you. As it was assigned to me, today I am going to speak on Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, which I think itself is a very difficult task, but I'll try my best to make it easier. Before that, let me present my slide so that it will be easier to understand what I'm going to speak today. Please give me 1 minute. Okay, is it visible? The slide
Yes,
visible?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. So the topic which was given to me to deliberate on was Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution. And in the same intention, I have little bit modified my title, in fact, but the content is definitely same. I'm going to ensure you that the content is same, but the title is a little bit modified, and I have written the topic is matter, mind, and beyond. And we are going to listen to a very interesting story of our universe. So let's start with this. Yeah. So before we start, let's have a task for you. Looking at this picture, let me ask you this question. How many things do you see in this picture? How many things do you see in this picture? So you can write, if you see many pictures, then you write M in the chat box, or if you see one picture, one thing, then you can write just O. So this is a small task for you. Look at this picture, and if you see many things, then you write M, or if you see one thing, then you write just O. Okay, many people have responded. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So thank you very much. Then the task goes to next step. Our game goes to next step. This is again the same question. Do you see many people here or one person here? Do you see many people? If you find many people, then you write M. If you find one person, then you write O. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. You have written many things. In fact, this is a very fundamental question we ask in our philosophy. Looking around this whole world and finding many things around, trees, mountains, different types of people, different types of animals, different types of things, metals, this and that. Sometimes we ask to ourselves, are there really many things? Or it is only one thing reflected as many. So this is a very old philosophical question we always find in our philosophical discussion, right? Now the idea is, and when I ask this question, and the next question of course goes, finding out all this, we definitely ask the next question. The next question is that from where all these diversity, all these different things come from? What is the root? Was it one or many? Initially. And our common sense says to us that 10 years back, or 20 years back, or 200 years back, many things were not present which we witness today. And our common sense therefore says that when we go back in time, we find lesser things. And then our logic intervenes and shows us that might be initially there was only one thing from which everything has come from after lots of modification. Right? What was that one thing from which everything has come? And this is a very important question everyone asks. In philosophy, in science, in every other areas, they ask the same question. That was it only one thing from which everything has come? Or were there many things initially? And when we were small kids, studying in schools, colleges, or schools particularly, our science teacher was giving us a story. Let me tell you that. the story of two stars. And in our physics teacher particularly, in our schools, our physics teacher said that look, how this diversity comes to us. This diversity comes, and he was talking about now we understand it as Big Bang Theory, how this whole universe started. He was telling a story of two stars. You might have heard also that story. Let me repeat it again. He was saying that initially there are two stars, and suddenly one star broke down with a bang. It broke down and broke down into pieces. And all those pieces started revolving around another star. And virtually, then he stated that the star around which other things moved around, that was the sun. And other things which were moving around, they were our planets. And this is how our universe started. And initially when we were asking that, look, this star which collapsed came into pieces. From those pieces, how did this mobile comes from? How this computer comes from? How different colors come from? Were they there? So that was the question. Two stars. Story of two stars. And a question. You might have asked this question, I did. And today also many of us are asking the same question. Why it's so? Why these two stars, from where these two stars came, no one knows. And our science teacher didn't tell us from where these two stars came. Why not one? Why not many? But he said there are two stars. Okay, I understand. But then the question is, why one star broke down? Why not another? Is it a matter of chance only? It could have been another star, but it didn't happen. One star broke down. Two stars didn't broke down. One star broke down, and all the particles went revolving around another star. And the question remained, is it by chance only? No one get the answer, in fact. Or better, and in fact, most of the scientists, they started to explain this question. Is it by chance only this happened? And then more and more research in physical sciences confirmed us, no. What are the reason? The reason is there are some opposite and contrasting forces. Due to that, one star broke down and it didn't go away. It simply revolved around another star. So the chance theory got a reason. The chance theory got a rationale that there are certain forces and these forces make check and balance. This is how the universe goes on and moves on, continues working. Right? So this is what the explanation we get from physics or physical sciences. And this is popularly known as called material evolution. So from that breaking down of one star, the particles by condensing and heating process, expansion process and contraction process, now we have got many types of metals, many types of things. This is called material evolution. So different types of forces worked upon them, and those small initial materials became these mountains, these stones, these different types of things around us. So this is called material evolution. And then in 18th century, this man comes to the picture. He is of course a scientist, a naturalist, a biologist. And he published a very interesting book called The Origin of Species, and which made him so popular, even today, the most influencing scientist of our humankind, Charles Darwin. And he didn't talk about material evolution. He talked about something else. He talked about or explained about how life began and how this life actually changed over the time. And today, we like so sophisticated life like human beings are talking, moving around the world. So this was his conception. So he worked upon that material evolution and brought out another kind of evolution that is called biological evolution. And he postulated that from matter, this early life form started. It was very simple kind of life form. And that life form actually evolved, developed into this kind of sophisticated life form today which we are looking at. This is called early life form. And this is what is called biological evolution. From that simple kind of life form, and we are getting now very sophisticated human beings. So the life has traveled a lot of space and time. This is called biological evolution. And this goes to Darwin, Charles Darwin. And then Charles Darwin told us another two stories, and story of two tales. He said that look, the nature has a selective process. And all the lives, actually they started struggling for their existence. And out of their struggling for existence, what happened? Nature selected the best, the fittest. And therefore, that life survived in this world which was fittest in the natural selection. This is how many life forms were extincted from the world, and now the the fittest kind of life form is existing. So these are the two stories which Darwin actually told to us, injected upon our psychology, right? But the same question happened again. Why is so? Why the simple life form traveled to become this kind of sophisticated life form? What is the reason behind it? Is it that the simple life form wanted to become human being? This is a very important question we have to ask now. And the same question again haunts us. Is it by chance only? Some life forms existed, some life forms were extinct from this world, or by some forces, he will say biological forces. These are also mechanical, no problem. But then these forces, he would say again, because he is a scientist, therefore he would say by some forces it happened. Life actually takes more and more, deeper and deeper, more sophisticated kind of struggling strategy through which it can survive. But then there is another question you have to think upon. It's chance and mere chance also. That we will not discuss, but you have to talk. Or there is a higher order or purpose behind all these things. Look, starting from that breaking down of the star and breaking out of the metals, hot metals, right? From that hot metal, now we are getting sophisticated lives like human beings. How does it happen? Why does it happen? This is a question actually haunted everyone, haunts every philosopher, haunts every scientist. Or there is a higher order or purpose. There was a purpose and therefore one star broke down. Someone made it break down. And therefore, someone wanted that it has to be cooled down so that life will be possible there. Now, from matter, how life becomes possible? This is a very important question we have to ask. And in fact, everyone asks. And here I get this. Pondering over this pandemic, I was thinking, many people asked me the question that this is a chance only that in 2020 we are met with this dreaded coronavirus, 2020. And if you ask scientists, they will say this is a matter of chance. virus came, exploded, it was there in the nature, but due to some imbalance process, nature, it was exploded. And COVID virus were infected everywhere. But then, this picture I came from internet. And I found that look, in 2020, we are facing coronavirus. In 1920, there was another pandemic, Spanish flu. And in 1820, there is cholera. In 1720, Great Plague. Do you find any connection here? I do find a connection. If you ask a scientist, they will say simply this is a matter of chance. Of course, our Hume is there. Hume would say this is a matter of chance. But is it a matter of chance? Exactly after 100 years, one pandemic comes. Is it a matter of chance? This is difficult to assume. I don't have an answer. But simply I am throwing it out to you to think that is it the case that everything happens in this world out of chance only? Or is there a design? Is there a higher purpose? Is there a telos there in this universe? And therefore we can talk about this evolutionary theory into two groups. One is called mechanical and another is called teleological. And the mechanical kind of evolution which scientists talk about, they are repetitive. Why? Because they believe that every life form or every change in this world is a repetition. There is no higher order. Nothing goes higher. Everything was there, everything comes out of there, and it happens only a repetition. This is a mechanical kind of evolution. But there is another kind of evolution you can talk about. That is called teleological evolution or emergent evolution. And this theory claims that the change has a purpose, has an aim. Nothing changes out of order. Nothing changes haphazardly. Every change has a definite aim. Whether you mind it or you don't mind it, whether you find it or you don't find it, but every change has a particular purpose, aim. That is what is called teleological kind of, evolution theory. And here at this juncture, a very interesting man comes. He is Sri Aurobindo, an Indian thinker, considered to be a spiritual guru of India. I don't want to talk about his biography more and more today, so that my time will not permit me. But this man, Sri Aurobindo, wrote a very interesting book called The Life Divine, where he depicted his theory of evolution, his notion of evolution. He started to believe that why this change happens, why this small, very simple kind of matter changes and a very sophisticated kind of life come into existence. Aurobindo intervenes there. And he says, if you remember, he says, evolution theory merely states the process. How does it happen? If you look at, let me remind you that if you look at this evolutionary process theory, then everybody, whether physical scientist or Darwin, they were talking about how this evolution happened. Initially this was there, and there were lots of forces, this mixes with another, so that another matter happens, this happens, that happens. How things happen. They were more worried about how things happen, but they were not more worried about why that happened. And Aurobindo asked this question, very pertinent question. You are talking about how things are happening in this universe. You are not asking that why these things happened. And if you ask that, then you are entering into another type of evolution. And Sri Aurobindo also talks about a very interesting thing, discovers a very interesting thing. That is, he says, scientific theory of evolution violates a very simple law of thought. What is that? That is called nothing comes out of nothing. I assume that because most of you are philosophers, philosophy students, I assume that you are very accustomed with this principle of thought. Nothing comes out of nothing. Then a very simple question. Can oil come out of sand? This is the meaning of, nothing comes out of nothing. If the oil doesn't exist in the sand, then it cannot come from sand. Right? And similarly, then how can you assume that this life comes from matter? This is a very interesting intervention Sri Aurobindo makes to this whole evolutionary theory. That how life, which is categorically different from matter, right? Then how life can come from its different, opposite, categorically different principle that is called matter. That means life was existing in the matter. Otherwise it cannot come. Just like oil can come only from oil seed, because oil was existing there. Oil cannot come from sand. Similarly, if we have life now, and the life is something different from matter, that means life was existing in the matter. In which form, that doesn't matter. But it was existing in the matter. It cannot be different, new creation. And this is how he entered into a very interesting thing. And this gives a very, without a higher unifying principle, diversity cannot be understood. This is a very interesting principle Sri Aurobindo provides to us, that whenever you talk about this diversity in this world, then you have to always find out there is at least one unifying, single, unitary principle that exists in every diversity. Otherwise, you cannot explain the diversity. You cannot explain life if life was not existing in the matter. That is the principle he was working on. Am I audible?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. And this is visible?
Yes, sir. You are visible too.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, this is how. So Sri Aurobindo says that unless and until you imagine or you reasonably accept that there is a unifying principle, you cannot understand this diversity. Because you are going to violate the same principle, nothing comes out of nothing. And this all lead to, again, our old kind of notion, Vedantic notion, that is Brahman. And Sri Aurobindo also enters to that. That you have to understand or accept that there is a supreme reality. That supreme reality actually exists everywhere. Otherwise, you are going to violate your common sense principle. That is, nothing comes out of nothing. So, without this unifying principle, you cannot understand these diverse things around us. So, he back to Brahman. But he never stopped there. He used his own notions. But idea was same, that he accepted that Vedantins were brilliant in giving us a unifying principle of this universe. Otherwise, you cannot understand this divergent principle of this universe. So this is what is Brahman. And all these lead to something called spiritual evolution. Now we can find three types of evolution to just recollect. Material evolution, which physical scientists talk about. Biological evolution, which Charles Darwin was talking about, was popularizing that. Now Sri Aurobindo is giving another kind of evolution. He is saying that you have to think about another kind of evolution that is called spiritual evolution. That means that this unifying principle, the unified supreme spirit, transforms or transcends or transgresses from him to every individual thing. And that, movement of that supreme reality is called spiritual evolution. So he was fostering that. That is called spiritual evolution. He was saying that in every act of this universe, whether that is that breaking down of that ultimate 1, 2 stars, or even the development of a new species in this world, everywhere consciousness is present. Every change is a conscious change. No change you can think about which is randomly done, without any intention, without any goal or aim. Everything is conscious. So consciousness actually plays everywhere. Consciousness awares everywhere. That is what is called spiritual evolution. But that transformation of that spiritual supreme being to these material things around us, right? This is a very interesting thing we have to explain. And Sri Aurobindo has to explain also. And let's find out what is that spiritual evolution. And again, 2 questions to Sri Aurobindo. That if everything is the same, Brahman, supreme reality, everything is there, he is Purna, whole, perfect, then why the creation? Why this creation happened? Why this diversity happened? Multifarious things happened. What is the reason behind the creation? Why did it happen? Why did it happen? First question, which all the physical scientists and biological scientists just ignored. Why did it happen? If Brahman was there, it was perfect, it was everything, then why Brahman wanted to become a matter or a very imperfect kind of lives, small lives like earthworms or this or that? Why that perfect thing wanted to become imperfect lives or imperfect matter? Why did it happen? So this is the first question we have to ask. And the second question comes, how the creation? How did it happen? And you have to find out that how those people actually discussed how the things happen. Now how Sri Aurobindo would say. Okay. First thing, why did it happen? And someone was asking whether contemporary Indian philosophers are simply doing old wine with new bottle. No, I have also added that. Look, old wine with new flavor. And there is a huge difference between these 2 sentences. Old wine with new bottle and old wine with new flavor. So that is a very interesting thing. Look, Sri Aurobindo also took these 2 words, help of 2 words, Leela and Maya. These 2 answers are for these 2 questions. Why did it happen? Why is the creation? Answer is Leela. I will discuss why this happened. What is this? And how did it happen? The answer is Maya. And these 2 things were there in our ancient Indian thinking. Sri Aurobindo used it, but with his own vision, with new vigor. So this is not the old wine in new bottle. This is old wine in new flavor. So that is what Aurobindo added many things to it. That is what is called Leela. Now what he says about Leela, he says, look, why the Supreme Being wanted to become the diversity. One thing became diverse because it wanted to do that. That is called Leela. He wanted to become like this. Do you know that sometimes parents play with their kids? Parents play with their kids, small kid. Now if parents would start playing with the kid football or chess or mind game, will they enjoy? The kids cannot understand that. And therefore they will not understand, they will not enjoy the game. And therefore the parents will also not enjoy because the kid is not enjoying. Sometimes what they do, the parents become like kid. Just like the kid make faces, makes silly kind of nonsense kind of gestures, parents also start doing that. So the father acts like the kid, the son or daughter. Why did it so? Because the father enjoys that. The father enjoys to become like the son. That is the enjoyment. That act is enjoyment. And this enjoyment will not be enjoyed unless and until you descend down from your fatherhood to kidhood. When you become a kid, then only you can enjoy that act, that pleasure, that delight. The same thing happened with the Supreme Being also. So the Supreme Being wanted to become imperfect and to get pleasure out of it. Just like the father wanted to become a little bit kiddish to get pleasure out of it. That is what is Leela. Simple thing, Leela. So the Supreme Being, which is very higher, the perfect conscious being, wanted to become imperfect so that it can enjoy that act also, that imperfect act also. Sometimes you adult also, like when you find a puppy there on the road, a small dog's baby, how do you behave? Do you behave like adults? You behave like a small kid, isn't it? Have you imagined that? You behave like a kid, but you are not a kid. Why are you doing then this nonsense? Other people would say, look, this man, adult man, but what he is doing, looking at a puppy, what he is doing, he is behaving like a just a small boy. Right? For onlookers, for visitors, it looks funny. It looks irrational. But for you, it is a matter of delight. It is a matter of enjoyment, pleasure. That is Leela. Now the Supreme Being also wanted to become imperfect so that gets pleasure out of it. And that is why the evolution started. Okay, we'll discuss on that. Then how it comes to it? Maya, I will not discuss more on that, Maya, because I am so worried about the time. Okay. Now the actual process starts. As I said, that the Supreme Being, which is perfect, which is higher, wanted to become imperfect, lower, so that it can enjoy that lowerly thing. Okay? And therefore what he has to do? He has to descend. Unless and until he is there at the higher sphere, he cannot enjoy that. And therefore he has to descend from his original kind of place to the lower kind of place. And that is what is called descent or involution. Involution. So the Supreme Being, perfect being, becomes imperfect, comes down to the matter and makes it charged so that it can enjoy the whole process. That is what is the process of involution. Just like you as a father or you as an adult descended down to the small kid so that a game can happen, a play can happen. You descended. Otherwise, if you look like, no, I am an adult person, I will be very great. The whole process will not work. The small kid will not enjoy, and in the process, he will not enjoy. Similarly, the higher principle is coming down to the matter, the lowest principle, right? So that the game can happen, the play can happen, and the Supreme Being can enjoy that. That is called involution or descent. So this is the first process of Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution. So the Supreme Being wanted to come down, to become many. One wanted to become many. And then, right, the opposite process starts. That is called evolution. So from the lower, now it has to attain the higher. So now It has to attain that. So that is what is called ascent and descent. Descent process and then ascent process. This is the reason why this whole creation happened. And the involution. What is this involution? The universal spirit or this descends to the matter to make the evolution begin. Let the play begin. And in order to play begin, the Supreme Being has to come down. And this is how he actually dissolves all the dualities. Matter, mind, life, consciousness, all dualities. Because the Supreme Being is present everywhere. So the universal spirit descends to the matter to make the evolution begin. That is called involution process. Then comes evolution process. Evolution then is an inverse action of the involution. If that is descent, this is ascent. If that is coming down, this is going up. And this evolution process takes three processes. That is called triple process of evolution. That is called widening, heightening, and integration. We have to a little bit discuss. I have now 8 o'clock. Okay. I have to discuss a little bit what is widening, heightening, and integration in a very small way. What is widening? So widening is extension of scope and the incorporation of coexistent forces. Now the idea is that when you are entering, you are going up in the process of evolution. What do you have to do? You have to assimilate similar kind of things into your fold. That is called widening. And then you move a step ahead. That is called development and growth towards higher forms or heightening. When the first process is over, then this next process begins, heightening. And then ultimately everything has to be integrated. Right? That is the process of integration. So these are triple kind of things. And I was talking about that involution process. So existence, then comes consciousness force, supermind comes down and down and down, and then it goes up from matter, life, then enters psyche, then enters mind, and then it goes to supermind. And it goes to again up and up to Supreme Being. This is how Aurobindo thinks about the evolution process. Now, if you look at our world also, you will find that there are certain things which are completely matter, so unconscious. But don't think that there is no conscious there, because Supreme Being is everywhere. But that is so dormant in that sense, matter. And then from matter actually life comes. It's not that life is a new beginning. Life comes from the matter because Supreme Being is there in the matter. And life actually again takes another height. That is the process of heightening. So from a very simple kind of life, psyche comes, animal spirit, simple kind of reasoning, simple kind of emotion, psyche. This comes in animals. If you look at the whole process in the universe, then you will find matter, water, solid, water, gas. And it looks like a matter because it is static, doesn't move, doesn't change. So it looks like matter. But if you go look in different angle, then it looks like a life because it grows. So, trees actually, plants world is actually intermediate between matter and life. So life is present there, matter is present there. And trees. Then from trees, simple kind of lives, like earthworms, like insects. There was simple kind of life, very simple kind of life only. Life processes are there. And then comes psyche, it develops from life, a little bit higher kind of life when it is attained, that is called psyche. And that psyche started with animals, higher forms of animals. And when it makes again another leap, that is called mind, which is present in us, perhaps in human beings. That human beings have the mind. Mind has developed in human mind. And the process will continue unless and until super mind will achieve. So the evolution process has now attained in case of human beings, mind has developed. This much. But it will not stop here. It will again go next higher state. That is called supramind or supermind. Supramental thing or supermind. That is the higher step which we are going to take. Human beings are going to take. And this is a process it has to traverse. Whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you do it or you don't do it, it has to attain because the super being is doing it. It takes time. But then Sri Aurobindo says that if you know the truth, then you can make it faster. And a very interesting thing S.K. Maitraji said, evolution is like the march of an army. Have you seen an army? Army is like that when an army advances from its base. From one base, army advances for a battleground. The more and more it advances, it takes always the constant communication with the base. It doesn't leave the base. Right? So that is how the army advances. And S.K. Maitra actually considers that Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution is like that. That means in each step of evolution, what happens? Evolution takes place with descent, ascent through descent. Every time it goes a step ahead and comes down. And again, step ahead and comes down.
Hello.
Right.
Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Yes. Okay. Now, so there was a phone and okay. So this is how through descent we are ascending, and this is how we will achieve ultimately the possibility of life divine, and the possibility of life divine will become actual in this process of ascent through descent. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. So, Kailash sir, hello. Hello, Kailash sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible. You are audible.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. You are audible. You are audible.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dr. Patitavanu sir, for your innovative style of presentation on the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. I know today you have very clearly explained the concept of evolution and involution in connection with the integral yoga or Punna yoga of Sri Aurobindo. And you have clearly explained how every change is a change of consciousness. Therefore, Sri Aurobindo's philosophy is called advent of consciousness or transformation or total transformation. And you have also given the justification as to why this creation happens. And you have shown that it is a Leela. The world is a cosmic Leela. It is a divine play or a Leela of spiritual involution and evolution. And I must salute you the way you have explained, you have clarified all the concepts of involution and evolution by taking the example of science, and you have made a change or transformation into the spiritual height. And very clearly you have shown, you have discussed how evolution process from inert matter to subconscious plant, and from plant to semi-conscious animal, and to the conscious human beings. Thanks so much, sir, for your clear exposition and clarification on the concept of evolution and involution so far as the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo is concerned. Now, may I request Mr. Sharangi to carry on the interactive session. Over to Devashish.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. There are a few questions in the chat box. So, Renuwala Sundarai madam wants to know, is Involution and Avatara are same?
Okay, thank you, Renubella madam, for asking this question. Yeah, you can think like that, but in this Sri Aurobindo's philosophical scheme, we should not think in that line. Otherwise, that will be mixed up. So I will not like that. But the question is, look, Avatara, when we talk in Indian scheme, it has lot of fanciful talks, right? So the avatar has this power, that power, this power. So a kind of exaggeration also has happened. But the initial idea is that a perfect consciousness, right, goes deep down and then comes back. And it goes on in a cyclical way. This is the old Indian traditional theory, right? And Sri Aurobindo has made its use and used in his own style. So we should stop talking about that avatar. Though even Sri Aurobindo also said that I look Krishna everywhere, Kali everywhere, this, that. But I don't think that it will be fit into his scheme. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So next question is from Rinki Mahali. She wants to know, oil does not come from sand. It comes from the oil seed. So our life comes from the Brahman, who is the supreme being. Are they have body or life like us? Because the object exists in matter. If they don't, then how he creates us?
Okay, very good question. But the question is, when you are saying that is the supreme being, the idea is the supreme being is perfect. Now, when you think that it is perfect, how can you understand that it doesn't have a body? Look, the idea of perfection means what? If you analyze that word itself, perfect means what? Perfect means everything is there. And you are saying that is a perfect thing, but it doesn't have body. Then it becomes imperfect, right? So the idea of perfect being means it has a body. Definitely it has a body. But you cannot say that that body is just like a material body, just like we are looking at. You cannot grasp that because everything is there. That is the supreme being, So it has a matter. And I was, Avatar wala, Renu wala madam was talking about Avatar. Let me remind that also. Look, in Hindu tradition, we have listened to that story of evolution. Initially, there was nothing. Look, you just concentrate on this sentence. Initially, there was nothing. God was there. Now, God was sleeping. On what? On a snake. Initially, there was nothing, but God was there. God was sleeping on a snake. And snake was, swimming in the water. Now, how can you say that there was nothing? You are saying God was there, God was sleeping on the snake, so snake was there. Snake was swimming on the water, so water was there, but still there was nothing. How is it possible? And then an important thing comes down. When we were listening to that stories, now I am now decoding those stories. Now God wanted to have a creation. And therefore, what he did, he rubbed his ear and find some dirt. Look, so dirt was also there. There was nothing, but dirt was there. And this, what he does, he throws that dirt. And from that dirt, two, giants come out. And then God ordered that go and create the world. Look. Is this feasible? Is this rational? At the same time you are saying there was nothing. At the same time you are saying there was God, there was snake, there was water, there was dirt in God's ear. Okay, the same thing was happening. So when we are talking about Supreme Being, means something which has everything but unmanifest. Now this everything which was unmanifest there is becoming manifested. That is what is creation. Now when you find many things around, and when you look at the first principle, which was condensed, small one, showing nothing, we thought that there was nothing. These things came out of completely new. But no, everything was there, hiding there. It comes out of everything. That is what. Okay, so the Supreme Being had body, had mind, had life, had everything because it is a perfect being. Therefore we came from it. Okay, I think that much. Thank you. Thank you, Rinki.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Then Ambika Prasad wants to know that what is the last stage of highest reality? Because when we consider the highest, then it becomes Nirguna. And Nirguna is the enjoyer only. We cannot accept a mere enjoyer as highest reality.
No. It is not enjoyer only. It is it is not enjoyer only. It is the game. It is the player. And it is the playground. So it is not only enjoyer. So highest reality is that Supreme Being, and it enjoys, it also is enjoyed. Everything is there only. Right? And it is the playground. In the process, what is happening? In the process, it looks like a very interesting game happening. But the same thing is playing, same thing is played, everything is happening there only. So that is what is Nirguna. No, Nirguna we should not talk about. So it is not enjoying. So it is enjoying, it is enjoyed. So nothing else he is enjoying something different. No.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, Durga sir actually wants to ask something. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes,
Durga
yes.
sir. Hello, Durga sir. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am
Namaste.
I
Sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
sir,
You
I'm
are
here.
audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you, Dr. Das. You have something that what happened at the end of this process? Evolution is the starting process. Then evolution follows. Then the end lies there in liberation. And he says that if all will be liberated, then the process will come to an end. Is it possible?
I think, very, very, very interesting question. Thank you, sir. With all humility, I should say that no, the process will not stop. Because the process didn't start with a limitation in the field, in the game. the process started just for an enjoyment. And someone said, look, I think Debasis will help us, that Upanishadic idea that everything is delight. From Ananda, all existence are born.
Sachitana.
By Ananda, they remain in being and increase. To Ananda, they depart. So Ananda is important here. Leela is important here. And Leela,
That part is clear.
yeah.
It is
So
it
if-
continues because of his Leela.
Yes.
That part is clear.
And-
What about the end of this process?
Yes, definitely.
Is it,
So Leela will not end. Leela will not end.
Leela
Because
will never end.
Leela will never end. That is my personal vision. I can say that Leela. Yes.
I think it says that the Leela can come to an end if everybody will be liberated.
Yeah, Sri Aurobindo would say like that. Yes, Sri Aurobindo would say like that. I understand. I said that initially that Sri Aurobindo definitely says that when everyone gets liberated, then the Leela ends and the evolution process also ends. But here I should differ from Sri Aurobindo. The way Sri Aurobindo talks about the idea of evolution and the whole process, I believe that the process will never end. And Leela is something. Leela is nothing negative. It is a positive kind of thing.
It is never negative. It is
Never negative. And it is a positive kind of thing. And each and every time this Leela will continue. And by the process, joy, absolute joy will come. And there is no limit to joy. Right? And evolution, if evolution is happening for joy, then
if everything comes under Leela, then what is the status of the individual self? He wants to go to the higher state, higher and higher state. Then will it come within the part of his Leela?
yeah, very good, very good. Yeah,
I
so we
think
have, yes.
The self has some freedom. He must acquire the interest to proceed higher and higher states. He has also given certain states, Gnostic being and other things. So it is very difficult to accommodate all these things within Leela. Leela is never negative, it is positive, and it is quietly understandable. But
Yeah.
what about the end part of it?
Yeah. So
Spiritual mission.
about end part, Sri Aurobindo always says that this will end when all people will get liberated, and that is because of his
whatever
patriotic
you have
stand.
said very nicely. You
Yeah.
have discussed very nicely. Thank you.
But my idea is that if I work on that, I will say that this Leela will never end, and therefore this evolution will never end. Then someone might ask, then what is the point of doing all these things? The point is only to enjoy that Leela. And the more and more you do that,
You are influenced by the scientists.
okay, no, the idea is the more and more you are enjoying that Leela, or you are part of that game, what you do, the more and more enjoyment you are getting. That's what. And you are becoming more and more, you are attaining more and more higher and higher. And that happens with an artist also, right? How can we ask, what is the end of your imagination? Can we ask an artist that what is the end of your imagination? When do you stop painting? He will say never. Because the next moment he paints, he believes he gets more pleasure out of it. And the next moment he gets another painting, he gets pleasure out of it. More pleasure. It will continue. And by the way, what happens? He is also attaining a higher status. The same thing happens with every one of us. That whatever work we are doing, yes, sir.
We are confining ourselves to one part of his philosophy and not entering to another part of his philosophy.
I deliberately didn't do that. His patriotism. I deliberately didn't do that because the Mahal is not like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I enjoyed your speech. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. The next question is from Aparna Das. What is Maya? Is it illusion or something?
Yeah, but allow me please 1 minute so that I will make my charger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So what is Maya? I should not discuss more on that. Maya has been discussed in different point of views. At least two very important point of views it is discussed. One in a creative force, and another is in a very negative sense, that is illusion, that is many things is there, ignorance, this, that. Okay, so in two ways Maya has been discussed in Indian tradition, but Sri Aurobindo has used in the first sense, that this is a creative force. And I was giving that example of a father acting like a kid with his son, right? Why did he do that? He knows that I am doing this funny thing, this nonsense thing, right? He knows that. Doesn't he know that? When he plays with his kid and does all kind of monkey-like gestures, right? He might be an officer, right? A police officer might be very brave thing. But when he comes down to his son, he plays with his son. What he does? He behaves like a policeman. No, he behaves like a kid, and he knows that I am behaving like a kid. So nonsense thing. Right? He knows it. So this is not ignorance. But unless and until he doesn't forget that policemanship, how can he play with his kid? And how can he enjoy that game? Right? He has to do it. And all the time he knows that I am doing lots of funny things. And I am a policeman. If anyone looks at me at this time, sees at me at this time, then what he will think? He will be thinking. Every time he knows that. But he does it because he wants that pleasure. Same thing happens with Supreme Being also. Supreme Being actually does all this creation out of Maya. Maya is a creative force. Just like the father, when becomes creative, in order to become like a monkey, he has to be creative, no? And if he says, no, I won't become creative, I am a policeman, I will behave like a policeman monkey. Will it happen? Nothing. He has to be creative. He has to imagine that I have to now act just like a monkey. I have to act just like a horse. This is a creative force. All false. He is not a monkey. He is not horse. But that gives pleasure to the kid. That falsehood gives pleasure to the kid. And therefore he does it. Similarly, Supreme Being creates this world out of all falsehood because falsity is creative. Truth is not. Truth is very simple. Falsehood is creative. So Maya is used in that way in Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, that it is a creative force. It is not ignorance, it is not that delusion, this, that. No. I think that is okay.
Yes, sir. Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Then the next question is from Jayasri Sahu. She wants to know whether Sri Aurobindo believes in Saguna Brahma or Nirguna Brahma.
This I think we should defer because Ramakant sir is going to talk on Sachidananda, right? The concept of Sachidananda. So I would request the questioner to attend that lecture. That will be very clear exponents of this, whether that is Saguna Brahma or Nirguna Brahma. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So he is going to talk on that, don't worry. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Tanusri. She wants to know, it is believed that there is one supreme being and it exists in everything. So why are the incarnation of God is put in the highest place, or are being worshipped and not we people? I can.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very good question, Tanusri. Yes. Look, in worshipping, lots of exaggerations are there. Lots of, drama is there. And what about worshipping? People are also worshipping different people. Right? Some people are worshipping now Ankul Chandraji. Some people are worshipping now Vivekanandaji. Some people are worshipping even Sri Aurobindo. They are human beings. Some people are also worshipping Gandhiji. They are not gods. They are also human beings. Why do we worship them? Because we think that they have attained a little higher stage, but which we have not attained. So it is not worshipping. It is just, reverence, making an ideal. Look, that is the case. And when time passes, right, people started looking this as worshipping, isn't it? So that is what, and when you attain that higher stage, some other people who are at the lower, they will worship you, don't matter. So God is also that kind of thing. Now after 300 years or 500 years might be, after 500 years, when our future generation would come, now we are worshipping Vivekananda, we are worshipping Aurobindo, knowing that they are human beings. They were moving around, right? They are not human beings. When people will come after 300 years, they will forget that they are human beings. They will think that Vivekananda and Aurobindos were gods. Right?
So sorry to interrupt. So am I audible?
Yes. Who is this?
Yes,
Yes.
So as you explained what incarnation, what you understood, that by incarnation I mean the Krishna, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva. Like in case of Krishna, you see, he was so notorious, and he used to do all such things, like he was a threat in his area, then all such notorious things he did. But still, why he is taken as Lord and is being put at highest place and worshipped?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, and it actually needs lots of discussion, a lengthy discussion. I don't consider Sri Krishna or Ram or something as individuals or as gods. I always think that they are one idea. Lord Ram is an idea. Sri Krishna is another idea. Now we like ideas. So one set of people, they like one kind of idea, right? Which actually they acted on that, and they became happy, and therefore they enjoyed that idea. And therefore they worshipped Ram. Ram becomes a person, a god. Sri Krishna actually is another idea, another set of principles. Now some people, they actually like those principles, those ideas. And it takes a name, and the name was Sri Krishna. It could have been anything else, but the idea was Sri Krishna. No, the name was Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna actually presents an idea, a principle. That principle is important. That name is not. Right? In order to, no, for a practical purpose, Sri Krishna has become a god. Sri Krishna has a body, has done everything, an exaggeration. But it is just an idea. And on the basis of those ideas only, heroes are made. Now we are worshipping Sri Krishna, not because he is Sri Krishna, but because he was endorsing certain kind of principles, certain kinds of actions. We are worshipping those actions, not Sri Krishna. Remember this. If you can remember in that way, then you can understand that why, even though Sri Krishna has done all these things, why we are worshipping Sri Krishna. We are not worshipping Sri Krishna. we are worshipping those ideas. Because those ideas have some certain logic, and that logic appeals to us. And therefore, we are convinced. And when we are convinced, we believe that we are going to do that, because that idea is good. And anyone who has done this is good. And the same thing here, Sri Krishna might be in Greece, anyone else. Right? He has taken another name, but same principle. So principle is important, not the man.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We'll take our last question actually, and
Yes,
rest
yes.
question may be
It's too
discussed
late.
in the.
It is too late, yeah.
Soni Priyadarshini wants to know what is the basic difference between Sankhya's theory of evolution and Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution.
Sankhya's theory of evolution and Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution.
Yes.
Yeah. What is the basic difference, right?
Yes.
So it is really a very lengthy question. Devasis can understand. It's a very lengthy question, right?
Yes.
Sri Aurobindo's theory of evolution. Look, if we can understand one thing, that Sri Aurobindo theories of evolution is not dualistic. First thing, but Sankhya's theory of evolution is dualistic. This is the basic difference. It is not dualistic, but it is also not monistic too. It is integral, Purna, right? It is integral. It's very interesting, that part I didn't touch, but the basic difference is Sankhya actually admits two realities, right? Purusa and Prakriti. If I understand better, Purusa and Prakriti, they are opposite to each other. They are diametrically independent, right? But Aurobindo doesn't understand that. Okay, Aurobindo also agrees that matter exists, but matter exists as its own right. It's not dualistic, opposite to each other. That we need to understand, that matter and supreme being, they are not antagonistic to each other. Everything is same. In matter, supreme being exists. In supreme being, matter also exists. So that kind of thing Aurobindo talks about. I think that is.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. But this is not a complete answer. This is not a complete answer. And I will request Devasis should deliberate on this more and more. On Sankhya's theory of evolution. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So now it's up to Kailash sir. Hello. Hello, Kailash sir. Yes.
Hello.
Sir. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Okay, I enjoyed the answers given by Dr. Bhagwan Das. Okay, actually, very confidently he has given the answers of the question raised. Though actually it's very difficult to answer all the questions raised by the question raised by the participants. Still then, actually we have to wait another 2 days actually for the completion of the talk of Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Das. Now, may I request Devasis to present vote of thanks, formal vote of thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your unique way of presentation. Actually, many people, most of the people enjoyed your lecture. They have also thanked you here. Thank you very much on behalf of the philosophy family, and thanks to all the listeners who have listened, who have questioned here. Thanks to coordinator. Thanks to the host of organizer of philosophy family. Thank you all, and good night.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.